Happy Friday to everybody. Normally we've been doing the videos for YouTube on Wednesday, but I forgot to take the hamburger meat out of the freezer, so we didn't do them on Wednesday, and yesterday I just didn't get around to it. So today I thought we would do something that I have not made in years, but I used to love it and we ate it quite often years ago. So we thought we'd try it again. It's stuffed cornbread with a pot of pinto beans, and it's easy to make. It feeds a family of 4 really easily and very cheaply also. So I thought I'd go ahead and also talk about the bean pot that we do the beans in. Honey, will you show this one over here? This one I got from Southern Living quite a few years ago, probably in the early 2000s. I don't think Southern Living's in business anymore, but you can still order some of the clay bean pots from Amazon for about $30. They make a huge difference in how your beans or the texture of the juice in them. And honey, you want to come over and show them? It's just kind of a thicker sauce, and the flavor is amazing. And so I put them in the oven and I bake them for about probably 4 hours, but we'll talk about the beans in a minute. Let's go to the cornbread. The stuffed cornbread is just packets of cornbread, very easy, yellow cornmeal mix like this. Because I'm taking some to a friend today who made Randy and I some masks, and she won't let me pay her, so I thought I'd take her some stuffed cornbread and some beans for their dinner tonight. And I think she has diabetes, I think, and so I didn't use the Jiffy cornbread for her just because Jiffy has sugar in it and these don't, so that's why I'm using these for her. But for us, because you can tell from looking at us that we don't worry about sugar in cornbread too much, I use the Jiffy for us. But what you do is I used a ½ pound for Randy and I, just because I made a small skillet, and I went ahead and made ours so you can see what it looks like. But in making the one for our friend tonight, I'm using the other half of the hamburger meat, and you just fry it, a little bit of salt and pepper. Let's turn that light on. And a lot of garlic, just because garlic is so good. And you can put really any seasonings that you prefer. We're doing this to kind of taste a little bit like Mexican flavors. I'm using the adobe seasoning from Pinto's again. And I think that has cumin and chili powder and some more garlic, and let me think, black pepper, onion, garlic, Mexican oregano, cumin, and cayenne pepper. I use that quite a lot for enchiladas and really quite a few things, but and tacos, definitely taco meat. Anyway, so we fry this hamburger meat, and then yesterday I had to make something to drop off to someone, and I went ahead and kept some of the mixture because I thought this would be really good in the meat mixture in the middle of the cornbread. So it's black olives, onions, celery, and pimentos, and you saute them in a cube of butter, about, I think it was a cup of onion, a cup of celery, a little small can of the chopped olives, and that little small jar of pimentos. So I just cooked all those with a stick of butter, and I put, of course, garlic in it. I don't put garlic in everything, but pretty much everything. And you fry that in with the meat. And then until it's done. I wanted to talk to y'all also while the meat is cooking. I thought I would tell y'all, I watched Paula Deen on a video a couple of days ago, and she was making, actually I don't remember what, oh, she was making peanut butter pie. I have to tell y'all that made me want peanut butter pie so badly. So when I ordered these groceries to be picked up, I included anything that I needed for the peanut butter pie, because I just can't, I have to make it now, I have to have it. But anyway, she was doing a giveaway bundle, which included 2 cookbooks. I think one was called Southern Cooking and one was called Southern Baking. And one of the cookbooks sells for $24.99, and the whole bundle, both of those, she was selling for $19.99 for both cookbooks. So I went ahead and I didn't win them. I checked later that day and I didn't win them, but she was giving people the chance to get the bundle for $20 for anybody that didn't win. So I did go online, ordered both of them for $20 and shipping. So I'm excited about getting those. But I thought I'd mention that to y'all in case you wanted to check that out. I hope it's still available for that price or not, but you might want to check out pauline'sstore.com. So the meat is browning. And while that's browning, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit more about the pinto beans. We've been having quite a bit of pinto beans and navy beans and the large lima beans that you cook together. But when you use the bean pot like this, it's so easy just to put them in the oven and forget them. You have to add water maybe twice in the 4 hours you cook them. And what I do is the night before I'm going to put them in, I soak the beans in really, really hot water, and I just leave them overnight on the counter with the hot water in them, so that way they're a little plump and they don't absorb quite as much moisture from the when you're cooking them. So then you rinse them off a couple of times, then I put them in the bean pot. I added garlic, salt, and pepper, a little bit of chicken bouillon to them just to give them a little bit more flavor. And the meat is about done now. Anyway, so you put, if you're using one of these bean pots, I put it in the oven at 350, and I think I put them in about 8:30 this morning. They're already done, and it's, what time is it, honey? It's 12:15. So these beans will make a wonderful accompaniment to the stuffed cornbread tonight for dinner. Okay, and that's the meat. So, while I'm mixing up the cornbread, I put the iron skillet that I have sprayed with the baking grease pan, excuse me, in the oven to kind of get the bottom hot to where when you pour in the cornbread, it sizzles just a little bit from the heat of the iron skillet. And I think 2/3 cup is what it calls for. It says milk. I use buttermilk just because I like it. If I have a can of diced green chilies, I will either add that to the cornbread or to the meat when it's browning. We love green chilies, but I forgot to put it in my order. You notice I always forget a lot of stuff when I'm trying to online order. It's so funny. The other day I was out and I stopped at Kroger, and I told Raina, I said, oh my gosh, it felt so good to actually be in a store. I did have a mask on, but just to be able to pick what you want and look at things that you haven't seen in a long time. It's so different from ordering groceries online. So very, very different. Just almost felt like I was at Disneyland, getting to walk around and touch brownie mixes and apples, and so I get more brownie mixes than I do fresh apples. But I did buy some fresh grapes, so we eat those in between slices of buttermilk pie. Today a friend was on Facebook and she was talking about what she had made this morning, and she said, what are y'all making today or for the weekend? And when I saw that, I had to post on there that everything I was making. Today I made some chocolate cakes and of course the cornbread, and I'm getting ready to make carrot cupcakes to take to a friend that has asked for them. And started thinking about how much it sounds like I baked, but when I put on the comments on Facebook, I said, well, it's either cook and eat and bake or shop on Amazon. So it's either, my two choices are either cook and eat and get fat or shop and go bankrupt. So I'm choosing right now to do the cooking, baking, and getting fat. Okay, so the cornbread is made. Get the skillet out. Now this, I'm using the little skillets for Randy and I, and also our friend for tonight, because there's just 2 of them. If I was making it for a family of 4 or 5 or whatever, I would use the bigger iron skillet, and you would probably need 2 of the packets if you were, in fact I know you would need 2 of these packets, one for the bottom, one for the top crust. but because it's only us, we're doing the small skillet, and I used a half a pound of hamburger meat for us and a half a pound for them. If you were doing it in the big skillet, of course, you would use the whole pound. So I'm going to pour half of the cornbread mix, and just to cover. And it's sizzling just a little bit on the edges, you can tell. And then pour your cornbread. Pour your meat, excuse me. And that's a lot of meat, so I probably won't even use all this on that one. And I didn't drain it just because this didn't have hardly grease at all, and it kind of helps the flavor to me of the cornbread to have a little bit of the grease. Oh, let me get the cheese. I've sprinkled cheese on top. Let's see. Of the meat. This is mild cheddar. Sometimes I use mild, sometimes I use sharp. It just depends on the day. And I'm using mild. Sprinkling the cheese over it. Now also, not too long ago, somebody posted, and I don't remember who it was, that they sprinkled brown sugar just a little bit on the top every time they make cornbread. And I have to tell you, we did try that, and we loved it. The flavor was so fine. Just a little bit of that sweetness on top of the cornbread, plus it gave it a beautiful top. So there you go. Stick this in the oven at 400. It takes about 25 minutes for that to bake, and here it is. This is the one I cooked previously this morning, and like I said, this is just for Randy and I tonight. But there's that, and then here's the piece that we cut out. You can see the cornbread and the stuffing, and the cheese is melted on the meat. Now what we will do tonight is probably put it in a bowl and top it with beans. The juice from the beans is a little thicker than sometimes if you would cook it on the stove, and you can sprinkle anything, chopped onions, cilantro, anything you want on the top of it. But that will be our supper tonight. I hope y'all try this. It's really a easy recipe. It's great, and it's fun to make. And you can, if you have leftovers, stick the leftovers in the freezer and pull it out on a Friday night when you don't want to bake anything. So happy weekend. Hope y'all enjoy this, and let me know what you think of the cornbread.